Hey, what's going on everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the relationship of type in Helvetica Swiss design posters. We're mostly going to be analyzing the size of the type itself and how it actually lays on the poster, and I'm going to be giving you a simple formula that you can use for when you're putting your own Swiss design posters together. Yesterday I did a study of about 10 different Swiss design posters that I was able to find on Pinterest, and I noticed that there is a pretty consistent relationship for the sizing across all of the posters. We'll get to the formula in just a few minutes, but once you get it, you can start designing Swiss design posters like a pro. All right, let's jump into Illustrator and have some fun. Okay, so I'm going to be using this David Bowie poster that I found as an example. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that it's locked and everything is locked on the layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually recreate the circles right here, and it's pretty simple to do that. So all we have to do is go to our ellipse tool right here, and then I'm just going to make a circle, and we're going to size it to the very top of this one right here, and to the bottom one, to the bottom of that same circle right here. I'm going to switch over to a stroke, and then I'm going to copy and paste in front by doing Command F. If you don't know what Command F is, it is paste in place. So it takes whatever you copied and it pastes it right in the same place where you copied from. It's a very useful tool to have because it doesn't just paste it anywhere, it pastes it exactly where you want it to go. So now I'm going to grab both of these and switch back to a solid, and I'm going to go over to my Pathfinder and I'm going to click on minus front, and that's just going to knock out the middle right there. So I'm going to bring this over here and go ahead and eyedrop this color right here. And then we'll just move this down a little bit and we'll line it up exactly where it is in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and eyedrop this pink. So now we'll move both of them back over to the center of the page. And now we'll just align this pink one to the bottom of that pink one right there. And this is the part where we'll do the cutting and the separating, and we'll color that purple in between. So now that these are aligned in place, I'm going to go ahead and move them over here. And now we're going to click on divide. And what that's going to do is it's going to divide everything where all of the paths are overlapping each other. So now we want to make sure that we grab our direct selection tool, and we're going to select this part right here, and then just eyedrop that purple right there. So now we've exactly recreated this shape. So let's go ahead and bring it back over to here to the center of the document. Okay, so now for the fun part is the actual type. So this is how we're going to lay this out. We are going to analyze what the size of our main type is. And I know this isn't quite Helvetica, it may be some kind of form of it, but I know it looks very similar to it. So two of the differences that I noticed right off the bat is the W, how it actually maintains the same width right here, but in Helvetica it gets a little bit thinner as it goes toward the middle. And also where this E slants off right here, Helvetica Bold does not do that. Okay, so I'm not trying to get too technical with the kerning on this. All I want to do is figure out what the size of this main type is. So I'm going to switch this over to pink just so we can see it a little bit better. And the main size of this type looks to be around, we'll just say 145. And like I said earlier, we don't really care too much about the kerning, we just want to get the size correct. But I will bring this in just so we don't have anything overlapping. Okay, so now I'm going to make a copy of this and we'll type out "and the spiders from Mars." And we'll size this down and just kind of bring it over here. And now we'll size it back up to get it a little bit closer to what the actual size is on this. And I'm just loosely trying to match the leading or the line height. All right, so now we'll make a copy of these, and I will speed up this portion of the video so that I can do all of this without boring you to tears. Okay, so now we have all of the type laid down on the poster, and we've recreated it pretty much exactly the same. It doesn't have to be too precise, but what we're going to do is we're going to analyze the size of the type in relation to each other on the poster. Okay, so the main type right here is 145 points. So let's go ahead and write that down. Even that looks really cool next to each other, doesn't it? All right, and the secondary type is 43 point, a dramatic decrease. And I don't want to sound pretentious when I use this word, but it is a real word. The tertiary type is 26 point. Okay, so what we're going to do to get our formula is take our baseline height, which is 145, and we're going to take 43 and divide it by 145. And 43 is roughly 30% of 145. And then we'll do the same thing with the tertiary type and the secondary type. So 26 divided by 43 is roughly 60% of the size. Okay, so earlier I said I did a study yesterday of about 10 different posters, and this is roughly the formula that I found. Some of it deviates just a little bit, but in general, this is about what you want to stick to. So what you want to do is you want to decide what your main type size is going to be. Of course, it's going to differ from poster to poster, and you've also got to do a little bit of planning to figure out where your type and also your elements are going to go. But in general, you want to have your primary, secondary, and tertiary type, and you can easily follow this formula. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this formula and we're going to make make our own poster. So I'm going to create a second artboard here, and this is going to be 17 by 24, just like that one. And I'm sorry for any of you David Bowie fans out there. I'm not a huge David Bowie fan. However, my David Bowie would have been Michael Jackson. So let's go ahead and make a Michael Jackson poster. Okay, so just so we can switch things up a little bit and show you that it's still a consistent formula across the board, I'm going to switch our main type to 160. So I'm going to type out Michael Jackson here, and let's go ahead and set our leading. And I think I'm pretty happy with 140 point right there. I forgot to grab my Swiss grid, so let's get that in here. And since this Swiss grid is set up for 18 by 24, I'm just going to change it to that size. Okay, so let's grab our grid and we'll lock it. And let's go ahead and align this to our grid. I'm going to align it to that M right there. And then I'll align this baseline to this line right here. Okay, so we have our primary type right here. So let's go ahead and copy this down here. And we're going to let Illustrator do the math for us, which is a really fun thing to do, by the way. So we're going to type in 160 times 0.3, and that's going to be 30% of what your type is. So that's going to set that to 48 point. And now we'll adjust the leading right here. And here's a little bit of a pro tip. You want to adjust your leading depending on what your type actually says. Depending on what you've typed out, you may have ascenders and descenders that will get in the way. So just adjust it to whatever your type says. My favorite album by Michael Jackson is Bad, so we'll say The Bad Experience. I don't know if that was a real thing or not. I never got to see Michael Jackson live. So let's bring our grid back up, and we're gonna place this right here. I don't know how this got moved, but apparently it did. And we'll move this over here to the line as well. And we'll make sure that our baseline is exactly sitting on that line right there. And now that I looked at it at a glance, I think I want to bring this up to this line. I want it a little bit closer to Michael Jackson's name. And this little part right here on the H is an ascender. So that will actually go beyond our line, and the T will be right there where that line is. All right, I like that better. Okay, so now we're gonna do 60% of 48. So let's go ahead and type in 48 times 0.6, and that's gonna be 28.8. Now, if you're someone like me, go ahead and round it up. And I'm gonna set my leading to be the same. And depending on what I type out here, I'll probably change it up a little bit. Okay, so I'll just kind of copy the same format that the David Bowie poster has. We'll do Friday because Friday is the best day of the week, right? And I'll do my birthday, but we'll do it for the year after Bad came out, so we'll do 1988. Okay, and let's bring this down to our baseline right here. And now we'll copy this over here, and we'll do 3 across the bottom. And this one is a time and the venue. So we'll do 8:30 p.m. at Starwood Amphitheater, which is where I used to go to concerts all the time in Nashville. And then we'll do the price, which in 1988, even though it was Michael Jackson, probably would have been $15 to $20. So we'll just say $15. And that'll be for advanced seating. And we'll just type in all seats reserved, because this obviously would not have been his first US appearance. We're just kind of copying the same format that the David Bowie poster has. And since this is the bottom of the poster, I think that I will align the baselines to that bottom line. This is where you want to align it with type that does not have a descender. Okay, and now we will right align this with that guide, and then we'll left align with this guide. Now this next part is purely optional. If you want to break outside of the guide, you can do that. You'll notice here that these 3 blocks of type are not the same width, so they kind of look a little bit funny when that middle one is a little bit too close to that right one. So what you can do is select all 3 of these, make sure that you have a line 2 selection selected, and click on horizontal distribute space. And that will align everything according to the content in a horizontal manner. All right, so this is a very minimalist type design poster, and that's great for Swiss design. However, we need something a little bit more visual. And since this David Bowie poster right here has these circles and they're very abstract, I'll just kind of stick to an abstract design. So I'm gonna draw a vertical rectangle right here, and I'm gonna make it fit exactly within this grid right here. So I'm gonna divide that by 2. We're gonna move this right over here. At this point, I'm not really too concerned about where the grid placement actually is. I'm just trying to make the elements that I wanna make. And what I'm thinking is something very abstract using black and red, just like the Bad album did. So I think I'll just kind of copy this right here, and then I'll put these on top of each other, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and hide my guides, and I'm gonna make sure that these are exactly butted up against each other, horizontally and vertically. Okay, so now I'm gonna add these little red stripes in, and now I'm gonna select everything and go up to Object, Shear, and we're gonna shear this at 45 degrees. And now I'm just gonna do this little thing right here where you just kind of set it off to the side. All right, looking cool. So it's kind of like a lightning bolt type of thing, but it's not too specific on what it needs to be. And then we'll align this to our grid. Okay, so now I'm gonna make sure that my reference point is right here in the top right. That way it stays right there. And now I'll just bring it in and we'll align it to the bottom part of this grid and this grid right here. So there's almost a little bit of overlap right there, but I'm not too worried about that. So here they are right here, our David Bowie and Michael Jackson poster. I did not make the David Bowie one. I did make the Michael Jackson one, but you can see that the relationship of the type between the 2 posters are identical. So just make sure to set your main type, and then your secondary type will be 30% of your main type. And here's that word again, the tertiary type is 60% of your secondary type. Follow that formula and all of your Swiss design posters will turn out great. I guarantee it. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope I taught you something today about Illustrator and Swiss Design. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications to be notified of all future content. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.